disrespectful.
Yo, what do you like being called on camera, guy? Call me just talking, saying your name. What do you like being called on camera?
Oh, doesn't matter. D.
Oh, picked out a good one.
What's that? What you get? What you get?
Oh, pass this off. Should we listen to Draymond Green about players?
Oh,
What
do you want to
What does that mean?
say
In what
exactly?
regard?
What did he say again?
Should we listen to Draymond Green?
when Draymond made that comparison about players, remember when he talked about he said when a player gets traded, that it's okay. When the GM does it, it's not okay. Like that whole conversation. Should we be listening to Draymond at all for anything?
You know.
And then Draymond also said just to talk in general. Draymond also said he's the greatest defender of all time.
Yeah.
Like,
This is what I was
So
trying
you're
to
just
say.
talking in
I was
general.
trying to
In
say
general.
which point were you
Yeah,
making?
well, I want to
Should
know
we
some
listen to it?
context.
Yeah.
I think, we know where Draymond comes from. He comes from a place that very few guys come from in terms of his mentality and his dog. We talk about the dog in every player. He has like a freaking Rottweiler mixed with like a King Corso, whatever you want to call it. Like he has the dog. And I think the problem is, even when he talks, and he's created this image for himself and this perception for himself, we hear rah, rah, rah.
Mm-hmm.
Even when he says right things. The whole I'm the best defender all time. Flick, man. Can you blame any guy for saying that and feeling that about himself? If he's gotten a defensive player of the year, I think he's gotten 2, if I'm not mistaken, maybe. A guy will say that. Okay, fine. That one. The other one, I think we heard rah, 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 but he was saying the right things.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was saying the right things. There's no reason to disagree with what he was saying unless you don't want to hear it in rah, rah, rah form.
So hold on, what was it exactly that he was saying about players?
He was talking.
Andre Drummond, they were playing against, at the time he was on the Cavs, they were playing against the Cavs. Andre Drummond warmed up and they told him he has to stay in his street clothes until they find a team to trade for him. So they didn't, basically, he was a trade asset, they didn't want him to get hurt playing because then he would have lost his value. So,
And Draymond commented on that saying,
yes, basically that.
He said when a player does it.
When James Harden was saying that he wanted to get traded, we were getting on him and saying, why are you doing that? And then they made him play anyways, and then he didn't play for real. And then now Andre Drummond wants to play, and they're telling him he can't play.
Right.
So,
It's a full contradiction, man.
Yeah.
sorry to cut you off there.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I think the only thing I'll say is I think we should listen to the players when it comes to talking about the players. It doesn't matter if it's Draymond or if it's somebody else. I think they have an insight that nobody else has, and I think that if that's their concerns, if that's the issues that they see with the league and the perception of the media of how the players are being treated, then I think we have to listen to them. Short and sweet for me.
Yeah, I just think the players understand that they know it's a business. That's it. I think more and more you hear players say that more and more consistently, that they know that they can be traded at any time. They're an asset, essentially. And I think with Draymond, he's an alpha guy, right? He believes in himself. He's got amazing credentials, as we said. He thinks he's the greatest defender of all time. What did he have? He had 16 assists the other night or something crazy?
Yeah, he's gonna average more assists this year than points.
Yeah, so he can control it. He can control a game, and he doesn't need to score. Like, there's very few players that have that ability, right? That actually can control a game and is not a scorer, just facilitating and containing on the defensive end as well. So there's a lot of merit in what he says. So let him speak.
yeah. So I 100% agree with what he said as far as the mental aspect goes, because he's right. Like, Kyrie said he left for mental issues, and, people were judging him on that, like, how are you going to leave your team high and dry? And then there's stuff going on, like, a team's just going to trade you. They don't give you a choice, whether you can play or not. Now you have to sit out although you want to play. And then now when you go to your next team, which is exactly what happened, Draymond said that. He said now he's going to go to another team. He sat out for a month. How is he going to play right away? Drummond, literally that's what happened. Like, now he has to try to, work his way back up. He's like, how do you think that's going to make anybody feel mentally? Which is a fact, which is an absolute fact. Or now you're with an organization that you thought wanted you, but they put you on the trading block, and you're like, okay, so now these guys don't want me, and they're trading me for a team that I don't know wants me either. So there's a lot of things that he said that I definitely agree with, but, like Rifik said, sometimes it's the way that you say it, of course, But everything that he said was a fact. Man.
So I'm going to take a devil's advocate on this. Because Charles Barkley talked about this. He said these younger generation players are spoiled. They're getting paid way more money than everybody else. So unfortunately, people that work 9 to 5 jobs They get fired every day. You get traded, you get sent somewhere else. You get a different role, you get demoted, you just got to take it. Yeah, okay, you guys are not getting paid minimum wage. You guys are getting paid millions and millions of dollars. So somebody tells you to go sit home, take a vacation, my guy, you're still getting paid every 2 weeks, $2 million, $4 million, whatever it is, to sit at home for 3 months, and then you get traded somewhere else to a situation you may not want to be in, but then you get to choose to where you want to go after that. I think maybe Draymond at some points might, because what I was listening to this guy actually talk about it. I forgot the name of the show, but what he said is, okay, if you're that upset, Draymond, why don't you guys stop playing? Why don't you stop playing basketball? Because you know it's a business, as Chris said. So what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? These guys got to learn. He said to suck it up. Charles Barkley keeps talking about it. You know, I just think sometimes Draymond says things because he's emotional. You could see it. He's an emotional person.
Yeah.
You know, but he also has to be very careful because you're still being employed by these people. These people are giving you work. So the whole debate between ownership and players is always going to be a tough one. You know, because I think the owners are always going to look out for their organization and their business, and now the players are like, I'm going to look out for myself, which is going to be. I don't know where the medium is with that.
So
where do you find the healthy
but
ground?
this is what he's getting at, though. There's never an article or a news headline or a video about how an owner is treating a player bad. Never.
There is. James Dolan. People hate James Dolan.
James Harden
Sterling.
James
Dolan, the owner of
the Knicks.
the Knicks owner.
But yeah, he's talking about Clippers too.
Yeah.
Sterling too. That's
But
true.
yeah, but what Draymond is saying though is no one says that, you know, it's crazy that they're sitting. How is Cleveland treating him like that? They never say that. They're just like, oh, it's a business. But then when James Harden doesn't play because he's asking to be traded, now we're like, James Harden is a sellout. So,
But I think why they say that is just because with the player, because these guys are doing it and you can't control it. These guys are choosing just not to play.
You know,
So they'll go out and just not look at Blake Griffin. Prime example. Blake Griffin did not dunk for like what 6-7 months. As soon as he goes to the next team, he dunks the ball. This is crazy.
Okay.
I'm still paying you $2 million every 2 weeks.
Okay, to
You know what I'm
answer your
saying?
question, what's the medium? Here's the buffer.
Yeah.
The buffer is you need to make yourself valuable. You need to be an asset.
Right.
We look at the Harden versus Drummond comparison. Harden is the guy, period.
Yeah.
Drummond has shown to be pretty dispensable, disposable.
Good
You know,
point.
you could get around not having a Drummond. If you have a chance to have a Harden, you're going for that.
Yeah.
Drummond can be in purgatory for a while and the NBA won't be affected.
Right.
Harden in purgatory hurts the NBA.
Yeah.
So I feel like the star power, to speak on your comment, the buffer there, the middle ground is make yourself valuable.
Yeah.
Now, this is why role players don't have a voice enough to say, yo, I don't want to play or whatever.
That's
They
true.
go with the flow.
That's
They're
true.
role
Yeah,
players.
yeah,
That's their value.
yeah,
Unfortunately,
yeah.
it will never compete with a Harden type
Very
of
true.
value. So that's
Very
just,
true.
like you said, it's business and there's levels. So we look at, if there's levels, you look at Harden versus Drummond now. We know Drummond is maybe 2 or 3 tiers below Harden. So now they get treated differently. And it's like, there's politics and all that. But I do feel Draymond Green, you know, it's not his, to say stop playing. Going a bit too far. It's not his battle. It's not his fight. But he was asked a question. He answered it as a player, to your point.
Yeah.
Or to your point, sorry, where that perspective is more important than anything, really. The player perspective. And he came from that angle in his own way. You know.
I'm just
I
saying.
think you're right on the
Sorry, go
spot.
ahead.
I think you're right on the spot. It comes down to revenue, right? How much
That's
are
it.
you putting people in their seats? Are people going in to watch you? If so, then you have a lot more power.
That's it.
You have a
LeBron.
bigger platform. Yeah.
I think
that's what it comes
yeah,
down
no,
to.
that is a great point because you're trying to tell me like a guy like Michael Beasley, OJ Mayo,
Right?
Ben Gordon,
Right?
these guys wouldn't kill to be in that position to be moved
And they
around
were
right
good
now.
players.
Right.
But
OJ Mayo's still in the league?
no,
No,
he's
he's
been
always-
banned. He's
Yeah.
been banned.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Banned.
Yeah.
And he was like, they were talking Jordan talks
Yeah,
with
he
him,
was
and it was
the
just
next.
like, what?
He was
They
next
called him
up.
man boy or whatever they call him.
Mhm.
Like, what?
And he still scored crazy numbers overseas. by the way.
China.
Yeah.
But he's always been, he's
Final.
like a Paul George before,
He was in
he's
the final.
silky smooth, you know, he just never
Yeah.
had like something.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, that was good on Mr. Draymond.
Yo, hey yo, wall to wall ball, ball above all.